What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's Manga Sutra Manga review, and in this week's video we're going to be covering an historical slice of life drama called Rainbow. Now, Rainbow takes place in post-World War II Japan, and we're following the life of 6 convict miners and their experience throughout prison. Now, the manga starts off with our 6 convicts on a public transportation bus on the way to the prison, and when a girl drops her toy, one of the convicts picks it up and politely offers it back to the girl, only for her mother to turn her daughter away in disgust and berates the convict for touching the girl's doll, for dirtying it, and the girl then proceeds to throw the doll out of the window. Now, our convict in question then gets the shit beaten out of him by a guard that was escorting him, saying that he is filth, that he's scum, that he doesn't have a right to touch other people's property. And, you know, that kind of gives you insight at what direction we're going to be experiencing in this manga. But it just doesn't stop there for our convicts, because the moment they enter the facility, they are preyed upon by the predator sexual doctor Sasaki, who not only violates their bodies and humiliates them and tries to break their spirit, but all of this is egged on by the very same guard that escorted them into the facility. Now, after they are all physically examined, they are escorted to a cell with an older inmate by the name of Sakuragi, if I remember correctly. And initially they try to create small talk with Sakuragi, but he calls them wild monkeys and little punks. Now, they decide it's the smartest idea that there's 6 of them and only 1 of him. And since they're all convicts, the prison guards are not going to really give a crap if this older convict dies. You know, they figure we have the numerical advantage. The guards are not going to interfere or anything like that. We can take him. And they chose the wrong guy to start a fight with. This guy is actually a pretty damn good boxer, and he wipes the floor with all 6 of them relatively easily. But while he's wiping the floor with them, we do get some exposition. We do get some of their backgrounds and why they were incarcerated in the first place. First up, we have Mikami Mario, age 17. He was arrested for attempted homicide after beating up a teacher who attempted to rape a fellow classmate. Next up, we have Toyama Tadayoshi, age 17, who was arrested for causing serious injuries in a fight while trying to protect his mother, and the judge ruled that the injuries he inflicted went above and beyond self-defense. Next up, we have Nomoto Ryuji, age 17. His crime is fraud and stealing. He was arrested for being associated in several underground gambling activities, as well as being associated with fraudsters. We have next up Matsura Mansaku, age 17, whose crime is GBH, alcohol abuse, and several other misdemeanors. He was basically arrested for being intoxicated in public and getting into fights. Now, a lot of people do that all around the world, but, you know, who cares? We also have Yokosuka Joe, age 16. His crime is GBH and violation of society's morals. He was arrested for seriously injuring a person that attempted to sexually violate him, and the judge concluded that his actions stepped outside of self-defense. We have, last and finally, Maeda Noboru, age 16. His crime is being a serial thief. He is responsible for several different types of thefts and being in and out of the police station. So just after Sakuragi finishes beating the ever-living crap out of all 6 convicts, he asks who wants to get beat up again. And this is where Mario is a real G. He says, "I'd rather die with pride than live without it." And Yokosuka Joe steps in, pleading for Sakuragi to stop, offering him a cigarette as a gesture of peace. And Sakuragi accepts the cigarette and smokes it, and also shares the smoke with all other 6 convicts. But Mario is skeptical because he feels that this act of generosity is more so a bribe so that they will be in his pocket. But Sakuragi dispels that idea, saying that I have no reason to have you guys in my back pocket. There's nothing to gain from it. Now, Sakuragi explains that the reason he beat them, and the reason he called them wild monkeys and little punks is because they didn't have respect. They didn't introduce themselves first. And let's just be honest, these guys started the fight first. You don't run up on an older inmate the moment you step into the prison. You don't know anything about this guy, and you just decide the six of you can take him. I mean, they really kind of stepped in over their heads. But Sakuragi plays it off cool, because his real intention wasn't to beat them within an inch of their lives. Sakuragi also explains that he understands where they are coming from. He understands how it is in the outside world. And while sharing a smoke with them, he shares the sentiment that perhaps that they can strengthen their bond going forward, and in 2 years they'll all be on the outside world. Now, I don't know what type of legal system he's in, but our nigga Mario is not getting out. That man is in there for attempted homicide. And I don't care what judicial system you're in, attempted homicide is not going away anytime soon. That doesn't go away in 2 years. Like, Mario is going to be the only one sitting in that prison cell for a long time. But I think this first chapter of Rainbow, plot-wise, was pretty solid. It progressed at a very reasonable pace, and as far as the characters, I think Dr. Sasaki is absolute scum. I want to learn more about Yokosuka Joe. I want to learn more about Mario, and I want to learn more about Toyama. And the reason I want to learn more about them is because they were arrested on bogus charges. You know, one tried to defend a classmate from getting raped. One tried to defend their mother, and one tried to defend his own body. And I don't think you should be incarcerated for protecting yourself, for protecting someone you care about. But I'm definitely especially curious about Mario's situation, because for you to beat somebody within an inch of their life to be considered attempted homicide, that classmate that had to have been raped or about to be raped had to be really important and dear to you. This had to be somebody that's like a significant other or a sibling or something. I'm betting significant other, but you know, we'll find out in the next few chapters. I think the artwork is especially crisp, and you have to consider that Rainbow is a manga that has been out for a long time. There are pretty much hundreds of chapters, and with a lot of mangas, we definitely see the artwork progress and evolve, and it gets sharper, it gets more defined. So if you like the art style now, just imagine going in and just imagine it progressing and getting better over time, and it's definitely something to look forward to. As far as the other three convicts, I'm pretty sure that there is some interesting aspect to their backstory or their crimes, but I'm just not that interested in serial theft, being drunk in public, and gambling. I'm not. But perhaps if there is some type of twist to all of this, or some type of deeper reason behind them going through these crimes or acting out these misdemeanors, or you know, things like that, then it would be understandable. Also, from a personal perspective, I am interested in reading Rainbow because I have somebody that I know that is incarcerated, and for me, although Rainbow is a fictional manga, it helps me at least get some type of grasp, or it helps me cope with their situation, and it makes me feel a little bit closer in my own way to them. And outside of that, this manga just goes to show you how rigged the judicial system is. How some of these kids have been locked up under trumped up charges, and they're paying for it. They're for no reason. They're considered scum of society, and I personally feel like the whole point of prison, the whole point of jail, is to morally reform you. It's to get you to think back on your actions and think back on these things that you have did, and to seriously want to become a different person, to seriously want to turn your life around. But I fear that when we face corrupt judicial systems, where you face trumped up charges, and you throw people that really shouldn't be in there with people that definitely deserve to be in there, you end up turning people that are relatively nice people, that are relatively minor criminals, you send them in there minor criminals or nice people, and they come out hardened criminals, and it's like assembly line. You start off with one piece, and then when it gets out of the assembly line, it's fully assembled into something else. And I think that's just a terrible thing that happens in our judicial system, where some people get locked up for the most ridiculous small crimes, and when they come out, they're a different person. But this is VM. I definitely recommend reading Rainbow, and I would like to hear what your thoughts are on the manga. I have did a video on Rainbow before, just I think a week ago, but there was an audio problem with the recording, and the volume was a little low, and I wanted to redo it all over again. This is VM. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Bye.